Hello, this is TTT speaking. We are looking today at the Nimitz release 0.95, so 0.95 alpha, so that's the first release in the 0.95 series. I've loaded the game. I have a couple of mods here, as the usual suspects, I guess. The Nimitz itself, Spartan and Saul's Super Hornet CBA, the Alex Boyd CRAM mod, the FI Maritime mod from Blood of the Scribe, Firewall's Air Weapon Systems, Firewall's Tomcat, Lesh Small Towing mod, Airfield Logistics, and also the F-15 because it's in the same folder as the other Firewall planes for me. The biggest change in 0.95 is of course support for the new editor that has been released today for Eden. So we can safely go into the 3D editor mode. We're looking for some place with a little bit of an ocean around us. So let's go here. We go below the water. Now we have at least some kilometers of water around us, like it should be for a carrier. You can find the Nimitz either by typing Nimitz in the search field, or if you go to a NATO, boats, and then Nimitz. The default is that the Nimitz spawns with a crew, but the crew is in the water because it's not really a vehicle, it's a bunch of buildings connected through some scripts. And then what we do is we press the Alt button or the Alt key and then left mouse button and place the carrier. We can change the orientation of the carrier as we want. Thanks to Leshrak, this is really nicely done and possible with his approach to the scripting, to the init scripting. The old scripts were not up to this task, and he did work, or he made some that work very well. What doesn't work so well, I want to tell, is if you go on the map and you change the position of the Nimitz on the map here, then it's not always working, and often the Nimitz will be spawned below the water. You can try to fix this with transform snap to surface, orient to sea normal or something like this, and see if it works, but I think it's better to just place it again. So we changed a bunch of things in this release. It's still not bug-free. The known issues list that we discovered today in a multiplayer session was really massive, and I want to make no false promises here, but I showcase the things on which we worked and that do work a little bit better than before. And the big story, of course, is the 3D support. As you see, the 3D Eden support, because it's much easier now to place some people, place stuff on the carrier, and hope that it works. You see here, this is the water access platform. This was blocked, it's now open. There's a ladder to going down, but as I don't personally like the ladder so much, I decided to ignore the geolot for the railing here, so you can just walk out and jump into the water if you like. Getting on a ladder is quite complicated in Arma when you're in the sea, so I made a climb aboard action close to here. Oops. Climb aboard action again. It's not perfect, it's a little bit glitchy here, but after all you get aboard the carrier again. I hope I don't glitch now through the floor here, which happens at times, unfortunately. Speaking of glitching, all of the hangar level is not always up to the task of giving you a good playing experience. We are looking into fixing this by splitting the hangar into smaller models and reducing the size of the road lot, and hoping that this will help to mitigate this problem. I think it was also in 0.94 alpha 2 but we did some work on the light system. So when you play at night, like we try to do here in single player, unfortunately it's broken for multiplayer. So if it's dark around you, the problem was if you have no night. Oh, I'm now the the diver. Sorry. If you have no night vision tools with you, you are kind of lost in the inside of the carrier because it's really pitch black. And here you have the lights on action. What this does is it spawns lamps and then attaches the light point to these lamps. The lamps are not always nicely placed. They are a little bit off the places from the actual lighting places in the texture or in the object, but they basically work. We will continue to work on this and try to make a toggleable lighting system that works better and works in multiplayer too, but this is what you get for now. In multiplayer it's not really working at all. It only works locally on the client, so everybody has to switch on the light and they have light, and the lamps are not hidden, they are shown everywhere, so that's not so good. Let's go back to the Eden editor and let's talk a little bit about the modules. Oh, let's make it afternoon. Let's talk about the modules. The empty carrier is of course now easier to fill with planes and with stuff that you have, but it's always good to have a blueprint, and so we developed the new ambience 2 and ambience 3 modules here. Ambience 2, you just place it. You can place it close to the carrier icon, so it's easy to remember that it belongs there. And when you do place, and we take a look at the attributes now, and you see that it has a bunch of configurable options. If you want to have the flight deck enabled, the hangar enabled, if tractors shall be used, if the crews should be there, if the briefing room textures are enabled, which have been fixed by the way. Then a couple of planes with different roles, like this is the empty plane, combat air patrol, close air support and so forth. I've picked only the F-18 for this role because it's, I think, most appropriate for this modern day carriers, but you can of course type in the class name of the Firewall Tomcat or whatever other plane you want to see, or whatever other search and rescue helicopter you want. The init line is sent to the plane upon scenario start. So here I have written an F-18 init function that gives it an empty loadout or a cup loadout cost and so forth. You know these from the service menu of the F-18. I've just did that for convenience. So when we do now play the scenario, you see everything is parked nicely. There are two planes on the elevators which fit nicely with the F-18 and also with the F-14, though it's a little bit less room there. In the hangar we also have some planes, which is quite nice, so you can take the tractor here and get them out on the flight deck and fly around with them if you like. Let's return to the editor. Remove that module for now. The next step in this module business was basically to see if we can get a module that enables you to manipulate the placed objects in Eden itself, and we succeeded at this partially. I don't want to say we failed, but no, it's not a failure, it's just not a complete success. So here again you have a couple of places where you place your plane. I picked the F-18 again. On the elevator on point, which is to the front of the carrier, patio, which is at the end of the carrier, street, which is here in front of elevators 1 and 2, the search and rescue helicopter, which I placed behind Jet Blast Deflector 4, the hangar forefront in front of elevator 1, then the place between elevator 1 and 2, and the remaining place in the hangar up until elevators 3 and 4. And when you do this, and you enable it, then the planes are automatically placed in Eden. You can touch them, you can manipulate them. This is a little bit of a problem here. As you can see, this plane was submerged. I have not a really good idea why it is happening. When I take a look at the attributes of the plane, I see it's at sea level 17.5, but this object transformation thing expects terrain level, and somehow I couldn't teach it the right thing. So if you change it, you probably have to add some meters here, or you take the Alt key again and use the left mouse to put this plane up and down. What I tried to do is to also set the init line so it spawns with the wings folded and so forth, but unfortunately this was not completely successful. The guys at Bohemia Interactive are working hard, I guess, to resolve this issue. They already fixed that you can set the init field at all, but now there seems to be a crash, and so I did not include this in this release to manipulate the init field from the arma3 module. Yeah, the arma3 module uses a bunch of scripts. For example, here this is the script for the hangar level between elevator 1 and 2, and yeah, it calls another script called park plane, and it can support Eden, or it does not, or probably not support Eden, and depending on Eden support or no Eden support, it does a few different things and places the plane. Something I forgot to tell is if you use this Nimitz arma3 module, you have to delete it after placing the planes, because if you don't delete it, then you will get another set of planes and another set of planes and another set of planes with each mission start, with each return to the Eden editor, with each change of something in the module. So it's a little bit raw around the edges right now. What we did do also is we changed the way the catapults work. So if you go now and take one of those planes which come from vanilla armor, the Nimitz carrier does not work very well with them, but they work at least. So if you do that, this plane will now launch. I did not taxi it on purpose, because when it taxis, then it is a little bit fragile and it wiggles up and down. So normally in the old versions the wizard would explode or would get a lot of damage during this takeoff procedure here. It's still probably not perfect, but it's better than before. Oops, yeah, it's not an Hornet. It doesn't like to turn. Oh god, I will die. Yeah, you see what kind of pilot I am, and let's just pretend this never happened. Let's go to the camera perspective. You see the carrier here far away, and something which is no longer current are the antennas, which are, if you see it, you don't see it well from here, from this height. Now you see them. These are the antennas which were there on the Nimitz in the 1980s, 1990s, and even through, I think, in the early 2000s, but they have been removed since then in some upgrade. And I did scripted that you can hide these feelers now. If you call false call TTT function feelers, then they are gone. I don't know if maybe it's faster if I fly back, huh? If I don't crash. Okay, here we are. There's the carrier. The antennas should be removed. Yeah, they are. You can see it's more naked now. And this is probably more like it looks today. There were also done some other things on the carrier, but they are not really so big a change. We're still looking for a good texturer to come aboard. I tried my best to get this Jet Blast Deflector 4 a little bit nicer textured than before, because it was really standing out on the flight deck tarmac, and it looks slightly better, but it's far from perfect. You see that this yellow line here around is missing. Then I changed the color from black of the IFL OLS system to navy gray. Also does not look brilliant, but does not stand out as much as the black one. I also did some work on this thing, on the crane here. I see there is also a missing texture, it seems. You can animate the crane now with scripting commands. I'm not showcasing it here because it's very early and it's not so useful. I hope I get some help for using the rope attachment system to get a working crane here on the carrier. That would be nice. Yeah, that's it for the 0.95-alpha release. I hope you enjoyed it a bit, and have a nice day. Bye bye.